My fiancé donated my deceased mom's handmade quilt to his family because it didn't match our decor. I found it on his sister's couch and took it back when I moved in with my fiancé Alex last month. I brought only what mattered most, including the handmade quilt my mother finished weeks before cancer took her 5 years ago. Every stitch represented hours. She spent creating something to keep me warm when she no longer could. Last weekend, we visited his parents' home for dinner. As we walked through their living room, I froze. There, casually draped over his sister Emma's couch, was my mother's quilt. "That's my mom's quilt," I said, my voice barely a whisper. "How did it get here?" Emma looked confused. "Alex brought it over last week. Said you were redecorating and it didn't match your aesthetic." I turned to Alex, who wouldn't meet my eyes. "It clashed with our living room," he mumbled. "Emma needed something for her apartment and you never even use it." That quilt had been on our bed every night since I moved in. I'd fold it each morning and place it in the cedar chest my father built, another piece of my parents I'd managed to hold on to. "I am taking it home," I said, carefully folding the quilt. "Don't be dramatic," Alex said. "Emma really likes it and it's just a blanket, just a blanket." The last thing my mother ever made for me, the hundreds of hours spent selecting fabrics, cutting squares, stitching patterns while undergoing chemo, just a blanket. "It's not yours to give away," I replied, clutching it to my chest. His mother intervened. "Alex told us you were simplifying your space. If we'd known it had sentimental value," he knew I cut in. "He's heard the story of this quilt a dozen times." The drive home was silent. Once inside, Alex exploded. "You embarrassed me in front of my family. You could have discussed it privately instead of making a scene. Like you discussed giving away my dead mother's quilt. You have so much stuff with sentimental value that our apartment looks like a shrine. Most people don't hold on to everything. My mom thinks you are turning into a hoarder." I looked around our apartment, at the framed photo of my parents on their wedding day, the small pottery bowl my mother made in college, the bookshelf my father restored. Eternally, these few treasures from my deceased parents constituted a shrine. "Your mother has 4 china cabinets full of porcelain birds she never uses," I pointed out. "That's different. Those are collectibles, and this," I said, holding up the quilt, "is the last thing my mother ever made with her hands. The last thing she touched that I can still touch." He softened slightly. "I just want our place to look nice, coordinated, like an adult home, not a mismatched collection of hand-me-downs. Then we can keep the quilt in the bedroom, or fold it in the chest. But you don't get to decide what of my history is disposable." That night I slept on the couch under my mother's quilt, wondering what else Alex might decide was unimportant enough to give away. This morning I discovered he'd called his sister while I was in the shower. "Emma says you made her feel awful," he informed me. "She thinks you should apologize and give the quilt back. It's not like your mom knows the difference now anyway." I stared at him suddenly, seeing with perfect clarity. "If you ever touch this quilt again, the next thing I'll be removing from this apartment is my engagement ring. He's been sleeping at his parents' house for 3 days now, telling everyone I am being irrational over just a blanket." Meanwhile, I've been carefully checking every drawer, closet, and storage space, cataloging the pieces of my past that remain. Some people measure love by what they're willing to give you. I've learned to measure it by what they'd never dream of taking away.